Welcome to Albion TV presents the AO Daily Show, your source for real news in an unreal world, keeping you up to date on the latest news, events, and the great community of Albion Online. Today is Wednesday, the 18th of September, and I am your host, Shozen, and with me today is my co-host, Bogul. How are you doing today, Bogul?
Good morning, sir. I am doing very well. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm going to give a quick shout out to my mom. Happy birthday, Mom. Yeah, I feel like that's necessary.
What?
What? You're not going to give... What? That's not what you do? That's what I do. I'm that kind of guy.
Well, next time I have the opportunity to be on national television, I will do that too, sure.
But you know what today is, Bogle?
Patch day.
Patch day. Today is Wednesday, and that can only mean one thing. Today is patch day.
Nice. Yes. Finally, patch 5. Percival patch 5 went live today. A few hours ago, the mid-season patch finally did, and I think that's the topic of the show today.
I'm pretty much sure this is what we're going to talk about most of the day. I'm going to leave these up while we get through a few little teeny bits of other news.
Sure. Why don't you show the dance party in the background while we do this, and then when it's time to look at the patch notes, we look at them.
No, you really like this dance party, don't you?
There's like 20 people dancing.
Yeah, it did just kind of spontaneous dance party. I think this is like leftover from yesterday. Like, I don't know what happened last night, but Judy Boots is like the new thing here in Albion. I'm surprised not everybody is naked, just wearing their Judy Boots. I think that's the way to go. I'm imagining in 10 seconds we're going to see 5 of these people run off. Oh, somebody is doing it. Somebody's got it already. Hold on.
Nice. Okay.
Oh, no, those are Graveguard boots. That's not What do we got here?
Should I talk PSAs? Because there's only one.
There we go.
2.
We got one guy. Autumn Leave. There you go. That's pretty creative spelling of Autumn Leave, by the way. Autumn Leave, nice dancing in the Judy Boots. You get extra points for dancing naked in your Judy Boots. I love it. All right.
You didn't even check me. All right, so PSAs. We have the auction week that started, by the way. If you are into the plot business, if you're looking for acquiring a plot in Carlin or any of the other royal cities, this week is your week to bid for this. So make sure to place your bids early and plentiful. But be aware that there are some changes to the auction system that will come into effect this time. But we will probably talk about this on Thursday during our Economy Thursday a bit more in detail. The other PSA that we have is that going forward, we will be giving out 750 gold for the best clip of the AO Daily Show.
Oh, the AO Daily Show
per
clips.
week, almost. Yeah. Probably per week, at least bi-weekly. So if you see interesting, funny moments in this very show, remember to take a little clip and post it. Maybe send it to Shozen, and then you could be the recipient of one of these nice codes.
I like to give away gold. I don't know if anybody knows this or not, but I do enjoy giving away gold. It makes me feel good.
Yes. And then, of course, the big PSA. There was a patch this morning. It's live now. We will talk about it for the second part of this show. But because it is quite a bit, and our plan is to just casually go through the notes one by one and talk about them for the people who might not feel like reading them. We have the community news section.
Just a little bit. Yeah, we're going to give a little
in front
bit.
Of you.
Yeah. So
we'll do first.
Yeah, there's just a little bit of community news, right, Bogle? Just a little bit. First, I've been sent this a number of times already. This was an impressive death. You don't see somebody die like this very often, and apparently somebody either quit or is about to quit, because Grill Boys just lost everything.
Wait, what?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh my God. This is
Shed a tear.
Masterpiece.
Yeah.
Gear.
Yeah, that's
on
what
the
he's
dude.
wearing. That's what he's wearing.
And then in his inventory,
It's everything.
we see masterpiece mounts.
Mm-hmm.
We see a bunch of mount skins
Some
that
very
are
impressive
very
ones.
valuable. We see a masterpiece transport mammoth.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Rumor is this guy is no longer with us.
That deserves an F in chat, I guess. Guys.
Yeah, I now I don't know. I don't know if this is the kind of thing you can say is stat padding, because this goes like in a different direction. This is like, see my pretty stuff, SBI. I no longer want it because you've hurt me so bad. I must destroy my stuff in the name of I don't know what.
He should have just given it to us, right, Shozen?
Yeah,
How
I would
about
have taken it. I would have said something nice about him, you know. I would have been like, look, this guy has now afforded me the right to have a pony, because I could sell some of this stuff and get a pony, right?
Yeah.
I could get a pony.
Maybe we should open a Albion donation fund where we, I don't know, get rid of items.
Okay. Yeah, you guys, that's what we can do. You're right. Like, if you don't want your stuff, like you want to go, we'll make a box that you guys can just put your stuff in.
And then Shozen goes once a month and just picks
I'll go pick it up. And I'll lose it for you. The correct way. One trip to the black zones at a time. Sad business there. Sad business. But also in a bit of community news, we've noticed... Oh, God. Mute this thing. All right. But we've noticed the war is on. We've talked about this a little bit. Yesterday, Daddy became Big Daddy, as it just added everybody and their moms. Everybody and their moms to Daddy. Interesting. And now it is the second largest alliance, only to Oops. Not Oops. Oops is not... Arch. Arch is 10K. They're like 7.5K. Oops is like at what? 4.5K? It's off the top of my head. You'll have to look at the numbers because I'm watching a video.
4.7, yes.
Okay. It's close. But it's on now, as Daddy has become huge, full of the Blue Army, full of the conflict, full of the Maiden BR. It's huge, and the war is on, as these guys are now going over towards the Oops. They're taking him on.
Do we know
real.
What the goal is?
The content. Okay, well, the proposed goal is content. That things got too boring, too stale. We weren't doing anything. Things weren't happening. Oops was, getting stuff uncontested, and Daddy just was unable to face them in a ZVZ situation because of Take Care and TC's just very convincing ZVZ force right now. And the only thing that could really do it is if Squad joined forces with Daddy and gave them a bit of an assistance. And not only did Squad join them, but 1PG and Life joined as well. So you have some really good ZVZers and some really good GVGers joining forces with the already good GVG teams of Daddy, creating a super mega duper Daddy alliance. This is a big one. And it's mostly to take down the king. People know that Derek is king and they don't like it, and he's a big evil villain in the game, and they figure they're going to take down, as I say, the free peoples of Albion have joined forces to combat the evil Lord Derek and his evil army of E-daters.
Okay.
Meanwhile, they're joined by Squad, which I'm pretty sure like you have to have like a date to show up at Squad. Like you can't come solo anymore. You have to bring a date.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we will be following this red versus blue situation, the grand war of Albion that we are about to see, I feel like. And some people say that they don't like the strategy there, just going bigger to be better. But if you can't fight fire with water, use fire, I guess. But how about we talk about the patch?
I got one more thing, because I was on Reddit and I read that somebody with an incredibly good PC was saying that, guys, I cannot get Albion to play properly. I have to keep turning down the settings. And then they said, then I uninstalled and installed it on my SSD, and it ran real good. And I was like, Pro tip: use an SSD if one is available.
Well, give it a try, sure.
Yeah, I didn't know that was something you had to tell people. But yeah, apparently you do. And thank you for letting us know on Reddit. Now let's get to the juicy part, Bogul. Let's get to those notes.
Notes. We hope we can get them done in 17 minutes, 15, a little bit more if we have to go over.
And if we get it done earlier, we'll display Judy Boots again.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So how do we do this?
From the top.
You just want to go from the top?
Well, we've talked about this a number of times. They're improving our quality of life in a number of ways, and one of the easiest ways to do it is get those guild logs that we've been asking for forever. So they're reworking the guild member log screen to make it more aesthetically pleasing and allow for longer lists, allowing players to see their member roles in the logs, and having a guild history log, which basically tells anytime somebody is promoted, leaves the guild, joins the guild, who invited them to the guild, and who kicked them.
Finally. Nice.
Yeah, those are like some basic logs that you need, and they're really good. I mean, like, good to have for the very small percentage of the population who needs to know this, so we don't have people robbing Shelty.
Yes, very good and deserved changes. The next one up on the list is crafting station fee changes. The associate fee for crafting and repair stations can no longer be higher than the user fee. We had seen this little scam in the past where people would set all players to users and then charge a super low associate fee and then confuse... Oh, no, the other way around. Whatever. It confused everybody because on the map it looked low, but once you click the crafting stations and you were not careful, then you got charged the super high.
Yeah, that 200%. That was always...
That is a nice fix.
Yeah.
Other changes and improvements. Updated names, updated trash. They just changed the wording there as far as I saw.
Ooh, new spell icon for cleanse.
Yeah. That's nice. And then also a little rework of the Keeper Earthchild and Morgana Raven Princess bosses. She learned to talk and now has full voiceover lines. That's good.
Yeah, I want to know who did the voiceovers. Nobody called me. Nobody asked me to do the voiceovers. I know
you want to do the voiceover lines
for the Keeper anything. Sure, I'll do the Keeper Earthchild. Sure.
I think that's a big lady.
They need voice effects. I can do a big lady.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just a challenge, man. Might take me a little while. All right. Mob changes. Lots of them. Now, I don't think we can go through every one of these changes, Bogul, but we can do the Elemental Lord. Apparently, the fracking has had more of an effect than we had once assumed, and it's making these guys a little bit weaker. The speed of their fire tornadoes are going down. His summons will do more damage to him when they die. Those are his little dudes when he summons them. If you kill them on top of him, they'll explode and deal damage to him. Now it deals more damage. And now, once he is below 16% health, killed summons deal normal damage. So that means, like, they don't do the extra damage. So, like, the summons are now going to do extra damage. Now they're just going to do normal damage after he's below 16% health, I think is what that's saying. Because it's a little confusing, and we tried to get through that.
A random question: what is an Elemental Lord?
The Great Elemental Lords. Those are the guys who, every invasion day, the effects of the elemental fracking cause these elementals to erupt forth from the ground and shoo away all the mages. Like, even better than Blue Army shoos away your mages. I'm saying the mages are gone. It's like they never existed. And instead they have these fire elementals that take control of the territory, and twice per day on invasion day, you can kill those elementals, and if you kill the elemental lord, as he's called here, you can then click on the center of the map there in a little tile and then gain control of that territory. Yeah, that's invasion day. The effects of fracking.
The rest of the mob changes, you said it, are too plentiful. They basically made the bears a little weaker. They made a bunch of other mobs have, and a bunch of bosses have different sort of skills. If you don't do a lot of random dungeons, you might have not even seen these yet. But I think that is a task for the wiki team to get these on there and updated.
Look at you, already like cracking the whip. I see that.
Yeah, or if you want to help the wiki team, you can help them by putting some of these boss pages up there, because I know some of them are missing. And if you want to do that, talk to Clementine or look at the wiki discussion channel on the official Albion Discord. There will be people who are very happy if you help to put this on there. But now, for the big interesting thing, the combat balance changes, Shozen.
Ooh, let's start right away with Arcane. What do we got? The big one for me on this one, the big change from all the Arcane spells that we're going to see is the Malevolent Locust. The Void has had its resistance increase decreased. That's the big one for me.
From plus 0.78 to plus 30. So it's a big nerf to the resistance increase that the Void gives you. But the Void, I feel like, is being played to remove a bunch of boss and debuffs. And I'm not quite sure how much of an effect this will have, but it's definitely an interesting change. It might be the case that the Locus is still too important to CVZs to have to still run at least one.
I think it'll still be run. Yeah, it's just as much used for a purge. Arcane overall, in the rest of it, we did see an increase in range of another 2 meters for Arcane Protection and Arcane Purge. Both had kind of short ranges at 9 meters, I guess, in-game meters, which is like I don't even know what that is. It doesn't seem like a I don't know. It's an
meters,
M.
Of course.
It's 9 M's. Now it's 11 M's, and that's more M's. So that's a good change for people who play Arcane.
Yeah. Also, the cast time went down for the Purge, and the hit delay for the time freeze on the Great Arcane Staff went up a little bit. So there's some of these videos where you see a bunch of people rushing into Hellgates and then freezing a whole group, and then one shot brimstoning them is going to be a little bit harder to pull off, but still possible.
It's almost a third of a second there. All right, so Cursed Staves. We've talked about this change a lot because curses are near and dear to my heart. The one-handed Cursed Staff can no longer be reflected when you hit the Death Curse. I like that. That's pretty big to me. Nice. It changed the instant damage that was done with the Death Curse. It's not there anymore. And the delay at the end when it would pop has been removed, so it now pops when it's supposed to pop instead of after this short delay, which you'd have to learn how to time. And if you've learned how to time, it's going to be hard to relearn. No, it'll be really easy to see when it's supposed to go because there's no longer a delay. Just do it when you would expect to have to do it. All right, Cataclysm on the Damnation Staff had its damage reduced bigly. By like 25%.
But the armor reduction went up.
Yes. Yeah. So we will see if this is still the bomb squad of choice, going in and slamming 7 of these in a single corner and blowing up a bunch of people before they even realize what happened. It's kind of interesting to see. I don't know. We'll see how it works. I would like to see less of these, but this is what I was playing for a little while. But it did seem to become a flavor of the month. Fire Staves, Bogul. What do you want to tell me about this new Fire Artillery W spell?
Well, it's a new spell, apparently, and the description reads, after 1.5 seconds, become stationary for up to 6 seconds and fire a projectile on target enemy every 2 seconds. The projectile deals magical damage on impact and leaves a burning area on the ground for 6 seconds. Every second, this applies an ignite stack on enemies inside that lasts for 3 seconds. Usually
stacks
in PvP games, a lot of people stop reading after they read the word stationary.
Yeah. I'm gonna do what now? Who now? What? Well, maybe with the longer range on the protective bubble now. I don't know. It seems like you'd need 2 people to make this one work so that somebody is safe while another person stands there and shoots these into an area. I don't know.
I mean, we sort of talked about it, and we are not quite sure if it would make it into the PvP meta, but maybe for various other.
I mean, it would. I can see this. Do you remember when we would drag all the undead guys into one area, hit the witchwork staff, put them into a ball, and then blow them all up?
Maybe for AoE farming.
Yeah, for AoE farming, that's what I see.
Okay, then we also see the Pyroblast getting a little bit of a range buff of 1 meter and a higher instant damage, a tiny bit. Yeah, talking about higher damage, we also see, well, the opposite on the Frost Staves. The Ice Shard of all of the Ice Staves got its damage reduced from 140 to 125, and that is that for the Frost Staves already.
And they needed that. They needed, like, we're seeing a lot of shards dropping on people's heads, and making that a little less damage should be good. I mean, it's not a huge nerf. It is just a slight one. And, I mean, when you drop them as many times as you do, it can make it a little bit of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, they live from buffing up your cast speed and then just pumping them out, right? So it's probably significant, though, still.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the big one. Now, these guys, Holy Staves got the most changes out of anything today. They got the big changes. Flash Heal had a change, not a huge change, just a tiny little bit more healing and a longer range. The longer range is helpful, as we do see. Like, it seems like the range of Holy has increased from the 11-12M to 13M, pretty much across the board, giving them just more range for healing. And as a stationary healer, I believe they need a little bit more range.
Yeah, that same thing applies, the range buff, to the Generous Heal and the Holy Blessing as well. But they reworked the Sacred Pulse spell on the Holy Staves.
Yeah.
Apparently, this spell now knocks all enemies in a 5-meter radius around the target away, and it only happens once after activation. And the healing now only affects a single target. The range also got increased to 13. It's an instant cost now. The cooldown got reduced, and the heal per tick went way up. So it's a very different spell.
Yeah, we were fooling around with this one a little bit on the test server, and it's interesting. I'd like to see if this can find if Holy can find a way into this current meta where it's this dive meta, the ability to slam somebody off of a target might be a way in. And Holy does have a number of improvements here that we've seen to make it a little bit more useful. Now, I don't know if it's actually going to make it into GVGs just because they've changed a couple of things and made it a little bit longer range. But with the current dive meta where people jump in on you and then just start slamming while you're stuck in place, being able to bop those guys off a significant way, it was a pretty significant bop for some of the characters that we bopped. The plate guy didn't go very far, but the cloth guy went pretty good, and the naked guy went forever. I honestly, this could be at least a great thing for Albion soccer, if nothing else. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Goalie weapon right here.
I'm looking a little bit at the time shows, and we have to go a little faster, or probably, honestly, just do 5 or 10 minutes longer today, because I want to get through this. How about this?
That's fine. Is there the rest of Holy that was changed is really just the except for Holy Explosion, which did have it. Oh, Holy Orb 2. Holy Explosion had its time reduced down to 20 seconds, which is a significant 20% reduction in time. That could see more play, especially, I mean, in arenas. It sounds fun, right? Getting these 2 bop spells in arena, have a bop on your W and on your E. Sure, why not? As a healer, Bogul and I are going to run double heals in arena. Look forward to that. The Holy Orb now is easier to... Well, it's harder to dodge, is what we would say. It's harder for your teammates to dodge your Holy Orb.
That's good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And then we've seen just an increase on range for Desperate Prayer and Divine Protection.
Yeah, it's just the adjustment, so all the spells have the same range, so you know. getting confused.
Another big one. Here we go down to, and I'm saying big one specifically now for the biggest one, Fun Stealer, who's the biggest Fun Stealer of all. He just ruins everything. He's a freaking ruiner. Nature Staves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have a reworked spell. They reworked the Thorns, the DPS spell on the Nature Staffs. It was called Poison Thorns. Now it's just called Thorns, and it was moved from the W to the Q slot. It gives you a 5-stack Thorns for 10 seconds, and these Thorns are getting consumed on auto attacks and deal AoE damage in a little radius. And every time you get hit, you deal magical damage back to the attacker. So that is... I've tried to play around with it a little bit, but I couldn't quite make it work yet, DPS-wise. It still takes a while to solo DPS with nature. I probably chose the wrong build, but I don't know. I'm curious to see how people make this work, or if it's even going to be used in PvP. Because nature is traditionally not a DPS thing, right?
Well, it's been used in solo, like, I don't know if DPS is solo persistence PvP. Like, you can keep yourself alive for a very long time with it. Now there are some ways to, I don't know, actually do some damage. It'll be interesting to see if people can make some different builds out of this. Like we were saying before, we were talking about that double healer. You might see double healers over in Hellgates or something like that now, and really irritating the crap out of you. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. I hope that somebody finds some way to use this in a new and unexpected way.
Yeah, we for nature staffs as well, we had the cooldown increased for the rejuvenating breeze. We had the circle of life of the one-handed nature staff. Now, if you have at least 3 of these thorn stacks active, you get a little root to go with it, and all the heal per second of the rejuvenation of the nature staffs was put down a tiny bit, 0.3, 7.9 to 7.6. But that's it for the nature staffs. Anything else for these, or?
No, we can go right on to the quarter staffs and talk about how the knockups have been lowered. The time on the knockups, really. I mean, if you look at Rising Blow and Tornado, both of them have had their duration lowered. The Cartwheel has had its cooldown increased. And now there's a slight change to Concussive Blow. This one actually had straight changes to it. It now generates threat on mobs. Its hit delay is reduced and its stand time is reduced. But more damage?
Yeah, and a new PvE option. So... we have seen the use of the knockups a lot in the GVG, so maybe that's a consideration to give other things a shot. Do you think that's an option, or is that weapon still the knockup too good to be ignored?
No, I think it'll still be used, but between the combination of this, the lowering of the knockup, and the changes to cloth and leather on their CC, it's something that we're going to see in play. Like, what happens to it in play? What are the actual effects? Reading about them is one thing, but seeing how they affect the world is another. And I can say that I can see, Tornado and Soul Scythe still being used constantly. But if it's just garbage now, it's garbage. If it changes it so that, engages are no longer knock-up fests, fine. I'm cool with it. If we see them more as, a way to stop engagements instead, I'm fine with that. Because stopping an engagement can be done by knocking somebody in the air for half a second. You stop their engagement, it's done. But being able to engage with a stun is a completely different thing, and I've always felt that, being able to go in while nobody else can do anything has always been a little bit cheap. So if you change that, that's fine with me. I like it when people have all their skills available when they both run into each other at once, and it's skill-based instead of timing-based. All right. Spears, Bogle. Spears. Yeah. One change, Impaler damage reduced.
30 170 to 140.
Yep.
Sounds pretty big, but probably needed. I've seen some complaints. And that one is pretty new as well, right? It's one of the spells that got added fairly recently. So that's just an adjustment.
But it is a 20% reduction in damage, so it's pretty significant.
Yeah. Swords, parry strike. All swords cooldown got increased and the damage got reduced. Ooh. Another
this
one of
needed
these.
It. Needed it bad. Parry is still like... It'll probably still be overpowered. It's good. Fearless Strike. I don't know if this was needed. I'm sure it was. Some people are probably like, thank God, we can get away from Kargera now.
So a raging Kargera doesn't zoom half across the map and slaps you on the face. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But, Galatines have had their damage reduced for the big clap. So the Soulless Stream has had its damage reduced just a little bit. It's I wouldn't even say it's like what? Geez, 5%? About 5%?
Yeah, 5 to 10%, yeah. Not even.
Yeah. Armors. Now, we've talked about this one again. We've talked about this a lot, and we already brought it up once today. Crowd control resistance modified across the board as Cloth got a bump between 0.2 and 0.24. It went from 0 to 0.2 to 0.24 on some Scholar robes, getting the biggest bump, and Mage at the lowest. Mercenary jackets, Hunter jackets, Assassin jackets all got a little bit of a bump between, what was it, 10 and 16? Ooh, or not 10 and 16, but 0.1 and 0.16 on each of them. Right. So that is a bump. The Hunter's jacket, for example, went from 0.15 to 0.28, and Assassin's jacket from 0.1 to 0.26. So these are, it's a significant bump for all of these. Now, I'm confused because I see Soldier's armor here and Knight's armor here, as they both got changed from 0.4 to 0.4 and from 0.45 to 0.45. Now, I'm not sure what kind of effect that's going to have, but I don't think it's going to be too significant. Taunt has been reworked in an interesting way, so that when you use Taunt against against players, you have 30% more damage, but you take 20% more. Well, actually, no, your defense is reduced by 20%. So that's actually not taking 20% more damage. That's different than that. So it'll be interesting to see if we're seeing more damage done from plate, and if people go ahead and use this Taunt.
I mean, 3 seconds is a fairly short window.
Well, it's
but for potential one-shot combos, I don't know if the 30% you would get from that spell makes up for the difference in armor type and the base less damage that you deal through plate. I think it's on a fairly similar level to what you would get with at least leather, maybe even cloth, where if you activate that, so it doesn't go beyond what was possible before.
Right.
But
well, I mean, if you're using like Soldier's armor or something like that, which already will have like the ability to pump up its damage, and then on top of the Soldier's armor, you hit your 30% damage buff on top of that for 3 seconds, and then pop.
No, it's instead. You can't do it. The Soldier's shares the slot with it.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yeah. Oh, damn. Oops. Meh. That's pretty meh. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I had the same thought. I was like, oh no, wait a second. That's it.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, tenacity, the CC resistance increase has gone from 0.1 to 0.2. So you can increase that along with all those clothies getting their CC resistance increased. And on the shoes and helmets as well from 0.05 to 0.1. So you're getting double the effect now from your tenacity, which if everybody else is going to be more tenacious overall, probably good that you get a little bit too. Wow, Bogul, how many more of these are there? Okay, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. Helmets.
Let me do that. Yeah, let me do that.
Get the ice block.
The ice block of the cleric cowl can now be used after being stunned or silenced. That's pretty big, and to go along with that, the cooldown went up a little bit. That is probably going to see more play as a result of that, but we shall see. Next up, the Circle of Inspiration of the Druid Cowl has its cooldown reduced from 60 to 45, and the Growing Rage on the Royal Hood had its damage per stack decreased to 6% per stack. Next up, the Emergency Heal on the Guardian Helmet was bumped up a little bit, and here the biggest one for the helms is the next one. The Sacrifice on the Graveguard Helmet can no longer be cast on self, and as a consequence, also they reduced the cooldown a little bit. But that one caused a lot of discussion.
Yeah,
right?
it did, and I think that is fine. I think that it'll lead to more dead healers, which I'm okay with.
Okay. I'm trying to copy paste the notes because I saw something.
And Mortal Agony, the Stalker Hood, the resistance reduction has gone from 0.5 down to 0.35, not 0.035. That would be a major nerf. It's not that much. Blink has had its range increased, so Sorab can go farther away now. Raging Blink has had its range increased as well. A major one here from 7M to 10M, and its cooldown increased from 20 to 25 seconds. Raging Blink, yay! Love it. Battle Frenzy, the Graveguard boots. This is the sad one for most people, as the move speed increase has gone from 80% down to 40. We are talking about that hurts. For me personally, as this was my way of getting out of jail free every time I really screwed up in a ZVZ. Not happening anymore. And the Judy boots. The knock-up duration has gone from 1 second to 0.8 seconds on the Judy boots. So people are going to be saying I could Judy boot that a lot less. Not really. It's only you're not going to notice. You're going to notice the reduction effects more than that. So, yeah. And then we've got another one that is pretty significant. The self-healing sickness has now been completely reworked so that when you heal yourself too much, you actually get 25% more healing. It's pretty amazing. Yeah. Like, I was checking this shit out earlier today, and I was like, dude, these are the biggest heals! Somebody hit the button wrong, and they screwed that one up. It's going to be fixed very soon, but right now, the proposed self-healing sickness debuff is currently in as a self-healing buff. It will be changed in a hot fix coming up.
Probably tomorrow. Yeah, but this idea that if you are a solo healer and you heal yourself too much and you heal nobody else, then after you heal yourself for a lot of time, we tried it earlier on the test server, and it really takes quite a while to get that debuff. But once you have it, it's pretty hard to get rid of. And then the 25% less healing that you're supposed to get will be significant. But again, if you heal somebody else with a Q ability during that time, then that just disappears. Yeah. And that should curb the solo rats a little bit that some people have been complaining about. Then we have a bunch of other fixes, but these are not super major, I think.
Yeah, we have these are some just some bug fixes like UI, audio, that kind of thing. The concussive blow now stacks as intended. Let's see what was another interesting one. The Solar Stream debuff can be cleansed as intended. That was a important one. Fixed an issue where a player would get stuck in combat mode when their dual partner was disconnected. I imagine that might have been irritating. Yeah, and you will now be sent to the proper town when you die after a random dungeon. All good bug fixes. But Bogul.
Yeah.
Today has been too long of a show, and we got to get out of here.
Yes. Well, I sort of thought we just switch channels and wait for Lupac.
Okay, we'll do that. All right, we can do that. All right, well, thank you guys for tuning into the AO Daily Show, where we discussed all the fixes and patches and notes and changes and all the logs today. We looked at all the logs. Thank you for tuning in. You can check us Monday through Friday right here on twitch.tv/Albion Online or soundcloud.com/AOTV or Albion TV. And what's the other one? youtube.com/Albion TV. Thank you guys for tuning in. And if we don't see you again in 2 minutes, we'll see you next time. And I'm just going to stare at the screen for a few moments. You guys can handle this, right? We'll get this.
I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a big clap. I could probably Gucci loot this. I'm talking bang bang big stacks. I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a big clap. I could probably Gucci loot this. I'm talking bang, bang, big stacks. Use boots, use boots, use boots. Big loot, big loot, big loot. Use boots, use boots, use boots. Big loot, big loot, big loot. Airship name tag, I'm about to gang. Pushing that loop, straight bang. Whipping that plate, maintain. Getting that deeps, main flame. About to hit it with the easy 1v3 with the crossbow heat. Heat about to quit the game, we'd about to get the fame. Keep it clapped for weeks. Gather TA while I'm looking for snacks. Looted a baggie with journals for tax. Crafted some mama, stacked in stacks. Raided the castle, I went in for black. Big clap. I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a big clap. I could probably Gucci loot this. I'm talking bang bang big stacks. I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a big clap. I could probably Gucci loot this. I'm talking bang, bang, big stacks. Use boots, use boots, use boots. Big loot, big loot, big loot. Use boots, use boots, use boots. Big loot, big loot, big loot. You ain't making these turns like that airship, dude. You ain't making these gangs like my airship crew. Y'all here making mistakes, about to get this too. The world is on and ox, about to get that food.
Rocking on a raid on a 3v3. You can catch me in the trap on some PvP. Gank y'all's loot out in Albion. I got the bodies on the same mount we found them on. Gotta find no fool who gon' hang on my arm. Feeding y'all losers to wolves on the farm. Spot full of hitters and you know we got a sick plan. Mount up boys and we pushing us a big clap. Damage they taking, we draining out all of your mana. Savage the haters, gon' give them the hammer. Oh, you a brave noob, huh? You don't want smoke with the crew suit up. Hit a fat lick just to gank that stuff. You don't want none, ho, you should run square up. Kill y'all's guild, take your team solo. Cause we run this shit, call me King Mojo.
I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a big clap. I could probably Gucci loot this. I'm talking bank, big stacks. I could probably Judy boot this. I'm going in for a big clap. I could probably Gucci loot this. I'm talking bank, big stacks.
Yo.
In Albion, you could be anything you want to be. So I decided I wanted to become a pirate, a ganker. Thank you very much for your donations. It's quite profitable. I want to share with you a song, Opus Gank number 3, or Judy Boot This. Judy Boot.